Hi guys, it's Miss C, back for week 12. We're going to start out a new module, module 14 I said we'd go back to. And so there's only a few more things we need to do before we end this school year. So I just need to review with you today a little bit about coordinate planes. So you are going to do today IXL Skills 7th grade. That's right, you are almost 7th graders. So you're going to do IXL 7th grade P1 up to 90%. What is it? They're asking you to take coordinates. For instance, they could give you -2 and 4, and they're asking you to plot the points. What makes it different from 6th grade, they could also ask you to take and do -2.5 and 4 and plot that point. So they'll have a decimal in there, or they might have a decimal in there. So you just need to go halfway in between if it's a half. And most of them, I think, are halves if they're going to give you that. So that's not a big deal at all. I want you to get up to 90% on that. For the next skill I want you to work on today, IXL 7th grade P2, they're asking you about the quadrants of the coordinate plane. So I have this up here to remind you. We always start with the positive, which is quadrant 1. So anything within this quadrant is going to start out with a positive number, and the second one's going to be positive as well. As we move to the other quadrants, remember we go counterclockwise. These you'd have to go negative and then a positive. So anything within this quadrant is first a negative, then a positive. Okay. To get down the quadrant 3, you would have to go negative and then down, which is a negative again. So anything within this quadrant is a negative, negative. And last but not least, quadrant 4, you would start out going in the positive and going down to the negative. And this should all be review for you. That shouldn't be anything brand new. I want you to remember that the point of 0, 0 is called the origin. I also want to remind you that we have the axis. We have the x-axis, which we travel on first when we do the coordinates, and then we have the y-axis. I want you to remember if the x coordinate is a 0, then that means it's going to stop right here, and then you would go use your y-axis to go up or down. Same thing if your x or your y-axis is a 0, you move left or right, but you don't go anywhere else. It's going to sit right on that axis. So some of the questions you might get, they'll give you a coordinate and they'll ask you where it sits, either on the x-axis or the y-axis. So you have to kind of think about, okay, what is that point? So for example, I might give you 0, +2. And I'll ask you, what axis does it sit on? Well, if you go and you plot out your points, you would go 0 first and then +2. So if I plotted this, it would be on the y-axis. Okay. Same thing if I had the point of -3, 0, right? I would move -3. And then if I'm not going up or down, then I know it's sitting on the x-axis. That might be one of the questions they ask you. One of the other questions they might ask you is something like this. And it will say, if x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0, what quadrant does it sit in? And all you have to do is replace the x, the unknown variable, with whatever number you want that happens to be greater than 0. So I'm just going to pick 1, right? 1 is greater than 0. So if I say 1 is greater than 0, and for y, instead of y, I'm going to pick any number I want that is greater than 0. I'm going to say 1 again. 1 is greater than 0. Well, 1 is sitting right up here, right? So it has to be in quadrant 1. So you're just picking things to make that true, okay? Again, I'm asking you to get up to 90% on your IXL skill. Take your time and think about it. Remember, the more you concentrate to start with, the less likely you're going to get it wrong, and then you won't be jumped back several points. So take your time and think about it. Learn from the examples if you're making mistakes. Let me know if you're having trouble, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day, guys.